Jesus did grow up. And it is his entire life, death, and resurrection that we look to in celebrating his first coming. But as our gospel tells us, we are called in this season to look even beyond the fullness of the first incarnation of the Christ, to the powerful hope of the inbreaking reign of Christ now and in the age to come as well. If we fail to allow Advent to be the season of hopeful anticipation for us, if we fail to consider the powerful promise of Christ's ultimate reign of peace and justice, then we too may become like Ricky Bobby, domesticating and downplaying the significance of Jesus, celebrating his birth as nothing more than a cuddly, feel-good festival. We need Advent to remind us of the significance of the nearness of God with us, not only 2,000 years ago in a stable in Bethlehem, and not just in the nearness of God with us as the gathered body, the church, but also to remind us of the ultimate nearness we will experience in the coming reign of Christ in glory. This is, after all, whether we choose to remember it or not as Christians, the end toward which all time is moving. The true Latter-day Saint, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, puts it this way: we have become so accustomed to the idea of divine love and of God's coming at Christmas that we no longer feel the shiver of fear that God's coming should arouse in us. We are indifferent to the message, taking only the pleasant and agreeable out of it, and forgetting the serious aspect. That the God of the world draws near to the people of our little earth and lays claim to us. The coming of God is truly not only glad tidings, but first of all, frightening news for anyone who has a conscience. Advent can be that time for us if we allow it to be. That time to step outside our comfortable, domesticated Christianity and acknowledge the deep yearnings of the world. The deep yearning for Christ's reign of peace and justice. Instead of opening the doors of our Advent calendars to reveal chocolates or ornaments as we count down the days until Christmas, it might help us to dwell in Advent a little while, to dwell in that in-between time, that time between the already and the not yet. As I was reading Bonhoeffer in preparation for the sermon, something he wrote transformed the image of the Advent calendar for me. He was not speaking of the Advent calendar, but what he said forever changed that sense of opening those little doors. For in what he said, he placed us as Christians inside one of those little doors, waiting to be opened. He compared Advent to a prison cell and makes us the object waiting to be liberated. He states, a prison cell in which one waits and hopes and is completely dependent on the fact that the door of freedom has to be opened from the outside. This, he said, is not a bad picture of Advent. I invite you this year to allow Advent to be more than a season of counting down, but instead a season for observing and celebrating the God who desires to come near to us, the God who desires to transform our sufferings, the Christ who comes to his people and comes to set them free. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to you, O Israel. Amen.
Amen.